Okay, so we're going to continue our X-Files adventure as we jump straight into episode 5, Jersey Devil. Now, I said previously that this one had really stuck in my head for some reason back in the day. And after seeing it, I have no idea why this stuck in my head.
I was so going to broach that subject, man.
I can't pinpoint it. All I know is when the X-Files was originally out, I recorded on video most of season 1 and most of season 2, and I think I rewatched them a few times. And I just have no idea why this one stuck in my head. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, like when you said, when we first started recording these, you said there was a couple you remembered, and one of them was Squeeze, which, you know, is a good reason you remember that. We both gave it a 5 out of 5. It's a classic episode of X-Files. And you said that the other one you remembered was about the Jersey Devil. And I'm like, my goodness, is that what put him off the X-Files to begin with? Is that what stopped him watching it? Because it's not one of the best episodes, it's got to be said. Whether it's as bad as Conduit, we'll get into.
Oh, okay, so we'll start off with the opening of this episode. So we've got the standard woods. A family are driving along. They get a flat tire, as they do, and it's all typical horror centric so far.
This is in 1947.
Yes, does it say that?
Yeah, it does. It comes up at the beginning. It's 1947.
And I completely missed that.
Yeah, it seems like this family is the Waltons because they're all singing Bingo was his name. It's the most twee family I've ever seen in my life. I was kind of thinking at the start, maybe they're the X-File in this.
Yeah, me too, because I missed the times obviously coming up on the screen. So I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So they stop off and they get a flat, and I've actually made a note of how it's almost spoof-like how happy the family are, but then obviously it's set in, what was it, 51 you said? And then the dad drops the torch, which it seems to slide forever down this embankment. And then the guy gets back to the car and suddenly gets snatched away.
It's very conveniently staged, isn't it?
It is, but again, you're not sure if it's an animal, if it's a killer, if it's something supernatural. So, you know, typical X-Files, it doesn't let you know straight away.
No.
And then it cuts straight away. You know, I was waiting on it going straight into the theme music there, but it goes to like the search party, where they find the guy's body and his legs been eaten half off.
And we get some trigger-happy cops as well.
Yeah,
some cops who are very, very eager to shoot their guns.
Yeah, I love that. But I noticed the thing is, they tell you that the limb's been half eaten off, and they don't even attempt to try and show you any blood or anything whatsoever. Just let your imagination do the work for you.
Well, this is it. It's just like you only need to see the reaction on their faces to know, really. And in many ways, like you said last time, that like not showing stuff kind of, it makes more of an impact, I think, in many ways, because it leaves it to your imagination.
And then they've got this giant, the guys find in this cave. They run towards it. Everybody's got their guns out, you know. They just start shooting into the darkness. And then it's just like, what the hell? It just cuts straight to the theme tune.
They have no idea what could have been in that cave. They could have just shot some poor kid up standing on top of a rock for all they know. Trigger-happy cops. Yeah,
typical, you know. And it cuts straight to the theme tune. So what did you think of the opening of this episode, Brian?
It was okay. You know, I don't think it's dated well. I think this probably ran better in 1993 when programs like this weren't really, readily available. There weren't a right lot of TV shows like this back then. But since then, since 93, we've had a whole slew of these things. And now, like I say, this opening does feel a little bit twee. It's a bit, the family's just a little bit too Waltons, and the cops are just a little bit too trigger happy. But yeah, it sets up intrigue that you're going to see some kind of creature feature. And I guess that kind of adds to the disappointment when you don't as the episode goes on.
So we open up with Mulder reading some pornography, as he does. You know?
But only because it's got an alien abduction story in it. If we're to believe him.
If we're to believe him, but then he is holding the magazine portrait rather than landscape, and I don't know many magazines that sort of type that way, but you know, maybe he was looking for evidence of alien abduction on their body there.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even try to hide it or put it away when Scully walks in.
He doesn't flinch at all. He just quickly mentions this alien abduction story in it, and it kind of makes you think just for a second. Maybe he is actually reading that porno mag because of the abduction material.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one told him it was a sex fantasy that somebody had written in about.
It was a sex file. So Scully starts to sort of talk about the case, and luckily, just ever so luckily, Mulder just happens to have an X-file on this. So, you know, it's his case and he's going to investigate it.
Yeah, this is becoming. It's already becoming a regular thing, isn't it? And it will be again in the next episode, Shadows. But
Right.
what I like is how Scully is the one who brings him this case. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets all excited about it, she's the one who's like, "This isn't our case, Mulder. We've got no jurisdiction." It's like, well, what the hell did you bring it to him for then?
Yeah. I mean, you know, the guy's got these tendencies to just dive head into these things. You can't wave something in front of him going, "Look at this! Isn't this really weird and unusual?" You can't look at it though.
It's like a red rag to a bull. Yeah,
pretty much. So straight from there, from him whipping out this magical file that just happens to be at the top of his filing cabinet, they go straight to the morgue, and you know, to see the body of is it what the police shot? No, it's what the guy. What did they go to the morgue to see?
It's a tramp has been attacked, hasn't it? That's the case, basically.
They found him in the rocks.
Yeah, like was he killed by an animal or something else? The woman who plays the coroner really looks a lot like an actress called Michelle Forbes.
Yes, I thought it was her to start off with.
Yeah, I absolutely thought that was Michelle Forbes. She's even been in a film with David Duchovny called California, and yeah, I was just like, all right, it's Michelle Forbes, but it isn't. It's just like the best Michelle Forbes lookalike I've ever seen in my life. So we get a detective.
Yes.
Detective comes in and gets really pissy with Mulder straight away.
In such a nice way.
Yeah.
The super polite put down.
It's like
I mean, there's no subtlety in the performance whatsoever. The guy's pretty much just in there swinging a sledgehammer.
It's like he just comes in and reads his lines, doesn't it? Yep, they're my lines. I'm going to read them. It's almost like he was the stand-in actor that Mulder needed to play up against. And they thought, you know what, this guy's giving off some good attitude. Let's just stick with him. But I think it's also meant to set up some kind of suspicion towards this guy. It's just like so blatant that, is this guy a suspect? He's so desperate to turn Mulder away. Does he have something to hide?
Well, we've seen an officer like this before in the pilot episode.
Exactly.
Where he was obviously hiding something. So it's leaning on that earlier episode as well a little bit. But he is just a little bit, say, 2D. He's not fully formed type of thing. But he's only a bit player anyway. So from there we go to Mulder and Scully talking about the guy's attitude. Yeah,
they do. There's not really a right lot to say about that.
No, it's a weird scene. And then Scully, it's there to mention that Scully can't stay in the city. The city, they're under control. There's nothing X-filey about the case. And she's going to head back to her nephew's party.
Not just a nephew's party, her godson's party.
Oh, godson's party.
This is a godson that we will never hear from ever again in the entire 10-season run of the X-Files.
In all fairness, it doesn't look like the best party ever, Brian.
No, it really doesn't. I would
mention them again after that.
The way that kid runs into the wall with a monkey hat on later. Well, we'll get to that, but
He makes the police officer look good.
It really does. Oh man, there is one moment in that scene though when Scully says she's going to her godson's birthday, but Mulder wants to stick around and do some digging. But when she tells him where she's going, like before she tells him, I should say, she just says she has to go away, and he's like, "Do you have a date?" And it almost looks like there's a bit of fishing going on there. Like he doesn't want her to go on a date; he wants her to stay with him. So yeah, bit of the old romantic intrigue, but whether that was there at the behest of the studio or not, I don't know, but it's there.
And then after that, you've got Mulder walking into the casino, straight through to the phone book at the block of phones, and he digs out the number for park services. It's a small scene, but again, it's just showing his smarts, what he's doing, what he's looking for.
It's also green screened, and you can really tell that it's green screened. I don't know if you noticed, but
nope.
When if you go back and watch, he's on the phone, and the background behind him is clearly green screen. They've taken some footage inside a casino somewhere, and yeah, like I say, just green screened it because it was probably cheaper than taking him to an actual casino and doing a setup as big as that.
I didn't pick up on that at all. In fact, I've actually got it playing on the TV in the background. I stuck it on.
You just wait till you get there.
I still can't see it.
You can. You're telling me it doesn't look blatantly obvious?
Yes.
Yeah. You
the
can see it now.
The lighting on them's on them's like atrocious. I didn't notice that at the time. So then it cuts straight to, and this is probably my favourite scene in the movie. Mulder arrives with the City Park Ranger guy.
Yes. Yeah, he has a chat with the officer who found the body. So this is the officer who found the tramp's body that is basically the case they're looking into at the moment. I like this guy, I've got to say. The actor who plays this cop. I don't know. There's something about him that's just likable. He's almost like a kind of lazy attitude in the way he speaks, but I don't know. You get the feeling that he is still someone who cares. He's a real stark contrast to the other officer that we met.
Oh, absolutely. And I just love the way Mulder asks him if he's ever seen anything similar or anything weird. And the guy just gives him this kind of side glance at the corner of his eyes, and then just tells him this whole big story that most people would just probably laugh at or don't want to hear.
It's like he doesn't quite know whether he should go into it, but for some reason, for whatever reason, he feels comfortable with Mulder enough to say, you know what the hell, I'm going to tell you.
It's just his whole mannerisms, he's calm, collected, he's cool, he's got the smile on his face. I like this guy. I like the story he tells as well, which is quite good about somebody or something walking out the woods, sniffing the air.
Yeah.
It adds a wee bit more mystery to the story as well. You're like, is that a person, is that a thing? You still don't know what's happening.
It's a story well told, I think. He the way in which he delivers it. I mean, like, some people can tell stories and some people just can't. And this guy can clearly tell a story because it invokes some quite potent imagery, I think, when he's telling it. So, yeah, I like the actor, I like the character.
And then we sort of move on to Scully's party.
Yeah, this is with the kid wearing a monkey hat, and he supposedly bangs into a wall and starts crying, and it's like the worst performance of the X-Files so far. I know he's just a kid, you got to give him some slack, but come on.
I mean, this is 1993 or maybe 92 or something. Surely they could actually have hit the kid, and made him really cry.
Yeah.
But she has a talk with, I thought it was her sister, but it's obviously not, is it? Don't know.
So this is like a friend, isn't it?
A friend,
because she's the mother of the child who's Scully's godson. So yeah, close friend.
But this feels really clunky when they start to bring
really fast, isn't it? Because when she calls Mulder a jerk, which is quite shocking actually when you first hear her say it, but then she quickly takes it back, and you get this feeling like maybe she's so used to defending herself in her position in the FBI against other agents, that now it's just this automatic reaction to, you know, people are going to talk about Mulder as if he's a jerk anyway, so I'll get there first kind of thing. There's definitely like a weird psychology behind it going on there, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But also, just before she calls him a jerk, she says that he's cute. And I think she catches herself saying that, you know, like, and then instantly goes for the complete opposite, which is he's a jerk.
Yeah.
But it feels as if they are really trying to push that, will they, won't they, storyline that they seem to fit in most of these programmes.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's ever felt as clunky as it does here. I think this is about as clunky as it gets, really. And to be honest, I'm not sure they even know what to do with Scully in this episode. I feel like
this is my major bugbear with this whole episode. You know, they take the thing that makes X-Files, which is this partnership of complete belief in the supernatural and the scientific counterpoint to that, and just completely separates them. And has them doing, well, Mulder still doing his thing, but Scully away, almost doing women's work type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, she's away, she's having a party, she's going to go on a date, blah, blah, blah. Which doesn't fit that character at all from what we've seen.
It just doesn't look right, does it? When you see her in the kitchen and see her with the kids, it's just like, this feels wrong.
It does. And then we cut back to Mulder walking in the woods and he hears a crack.
Yeah, completely superfluous scene. If I'm being honest, it doesn't add anything.
Just to remind us that. No, it's just to remind us that Mulder's there.
It's a transition. It's basically a transition. They need to get from this awful scene with Scully in the kitchen and her best friend to the next scene of this guy called Robert who comes around to the party. So literally they need to stick something in between these scenes just to break it up. So they literally just throw a random scene of Mulder walking in the forest. We know he's there, and this doesn't add anything to the story. It doesn't move it forward at all. It does nothing.
It does have one thing, Brian, and that is my favourite line in the full episode, and that is, he's divorced, so he's no good at relationships, but he might be good for you, Scully. Which is just an awesome line. I had me in stitches watching it.
Really?
I thought it was great.
Because
I just thought it was great. Because it's so bad, you know. He's divorced. I mean, that's not a good line, is it? You know, but the way she delivers it, as if it's a plus. He's divorced.
It's a real selling point. Yeah,
he's already failed at one relationship. Maybe yours will work.
With friends like these, eh?
I thought it was great.
There's a reason you never hear from her godson again in this series. After that, it was over.
Then we go to one of the most cheesy set design Skid Rows I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Crime Alley.
It's absolutely stunning.
This makeshift shanty town.
Yeah, and some of the cleanest homeless I've ever seen, and well health.
Oh, good grief!
And he just sort of walks down, asking if anybody's can remember the body or the victim type of thing. And some guy comes up to him and says, "Sure, I know. Why don't you follow me down this alley?"
He looks like he's had a few people down that alley, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
What gets me is this. Oh my goodness! This awful picture. This artist rendition of the Jersey Devil that someone's drawn. I knew this guy, and he said he saw it. He said he saw it, and he drew a picture of it. It's like the worst.
It's the way he goes into this secret compartment looking for it to whip this thing out. And I just had visions of Tony Hart criticising the piece on his board. It's awesome.
It's like
surely
we
could have done something better.
Yeah, it's like at school. It's like some primary school age kid has drawn a picture of their mum on her worst day.
Yeah,
and it's like, really, Mulder, really, you're gonna go on that? That's your smoking gun.
It's literally fantastic.
Oh, good grief.
So we then have Mulder so overjoyed and satisfied with this evidence that he's received, he decides to give the homeless guy his room keys, the key to his hotel room to stay. And he's going to camp out in this shack and watch out. And the most terrifying thing about this scene is the fact that he's using one of the guy's blankets to wrap around himself. I mean, God knows what's on that blanket, but he's got it wrapped around himself.
I love how after just spending like not even a night, not even one night, because he gets picked up by the police in just a moment. I love how he's like, he's been there for like not even one night, and he apparently already looks like a vagrant.
Well, he's got that key vagrant sign of his shirt being partially untucked out his trousers, Brian. You know, that's a key homeless sign straight away.
He's got like a 9 o'clock shadow. He's been there for 2 hours. Come on, give me a break. Yeah.
He's got a few hairs out of place as well. So back to this scene where he's camping out and watching during the night. And it gets very horror-centric for a little moment again, with Mulder's point of view shot. The camera is starting to shake and not quite in focus, and you're not quite seeing what's there. You just hear these noises going about, and the thing that's there is in shadow. I just did a flashback to that picture.
Oh man, it hurts.
Oh, it's terribly bad. So,
oh god, oh god.
Now remember, Brian, this is one of my most treasured memories of the X-Files.
Oh, goodness. This is the most entertainment I've ever had from this episode, quite frankly.
It is pretty good. So Mulder sees this thing raking in the bins and decides to chase after it. And it's away in a flash, and all of a sudden, it literally can move at the speed of the flash. It's on top of the building, and Mulder has to whistle to sort of catch all its attentions and get a look at it. Just as the police turn up, you know, and it's the same old, come on buddy, we'll give you a place. We'll give you a place for the night.
He's wearing a suit. Oh, stop.
I'm leaving all this in, Brian.
Oh man, longest outtake ever. Oh man, let me just get my bearings. Oh man. What gets me about this scene, right, is he's wearing a suit. How many tramps wear a suit?
But it just, all it is it's a little tucked out. The shirt's out his trousers a little bit. And their initial response is, dear God, this guy's been on the streets for too long. He's gone. He's lost it.
Oh man. We're gonna have to stop for a minute, mate.
Sure. Okay, so the police have arrested Mulder because he's got his shirt untucked out his trousers and he's clearly been sleeping on the streets for the past 70 years. But in all seriousness, it always a phrase that's going to incur laughter, isn't it? In all seriousness, Cop at the Start interviews Mulder.
So this is the douchebag cop, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote, there is no reason at all for Detective Douchebag to be called in to see Mulder. The guy is an ass for the sake of being an ass, and it's just like he doesn't need to go in and question Mulder at all. Yeah. He doesn't need to be brought in. This is just some dude who is what? Spends the night in the drunk tank? It's like, I don't understand why. He says he's been called out of bed in the morning. Mm-hmm. He's been called out of bed to come and speak to Mulder.
Yeah.
Why? It's just it just makes no sense to me at all.
But again, it's you could look at it as in he's there to scare off Mulder or something like that. But then Mulder is the FBI. I mean, surely the FBI can take jurisdiction if they really wanted to. Could take this case away from them. I think it's just like you said earlier on, to create another suspect of some sort. But we've already. This is just after the scene where we've seen that there's something else.
This is literally just to set up someone we can call a villain, and someone that is going to kill off our Jersey Devil at the end of the piece. But it also there's this other thing that feels rather forced in as well. It kind of almost seems like it comes from nowhere, which is when Mulder gives us some spiel about needing to keep tourism alive. Yeah. And so it's like he's setting up the reasons for this guy being a douche, basically. Oh, you need tourism, so you're trying to push me out because you don't want this stuff about the Jersey Devil to detract from tourism. Yet you've just said the tourism, or the line of tourism that you thrive on, is casinos and pubs. It's not like it's high-end tourist spots where people go to see national landmarks. They go to gamble. They go to drink and gamble their money away. It just, the whole reasoning is just loose and thin. Just really, really thin.
But as Mulder's trying to talk to him and explain the seriousness of what's going on and how people can be hurt, he whips out the evidence, that picture of the Jersey Devil, as if that's going to convince this guy that this is what's out there.
It's like, if he didn't look like a crackpot before, he certainly does now, pulling that picture out. It looks like something Scully's godson might have come up with.
Yeah, after he got the bump in the head.
Yeah, after he got the bump in the head. So,
and the guy does what we all think. He just laughs at it. But the thing that struck me about this scene most of all is when the douchebag cop leaves. You can literally picture him just standing outside the door as if just in scene. You know, it feels like it feels very like filmed at that point. It doesn't feel realistic at all.
It's very late, isn't it? Like Sid Field says when you're writing scenes, come in late and get out early. And this scene feels like they've come in early and they've got out late.
Yeah,
it seems to break all the rules of the script writing handbook.
Certainly. And then we've got Mulder calling Scully at the FBI.
From the drunk tank with a guy puking up behind him. This scene does put a bit of a smile on my face, I gotta say. It's quite amusing. Scully having to go and pick Mulder up from the station. Mm-hmm.
But it's just a reason to get Scully back into the episode again.
Yeah, just so that she can then tell him that she's going to have to go again because this time she has got a date.
Oh yeah.
But before she goes on that date, she takes him to see bootleg Jeff Goldblum.
This is another classic Jersey Devil scene. Absolutely, I love this one because you can. Very early on, it lets you know that Scully used to go to whatever university this is, and she graduated from there, and that this professor that she obviously has a relationship with is very scientific and based within facts and that, and who's going to battle his point. And within a couple of minutes, Mulder's got him just right round his fingers and completely negating all his studies into giving Mulder an answer of, well, yeah, that could possibly be true.
And you see the look on Scully's face, because you know that she's trying to end this as quick as possible. So she's like, I'll get the expert involved, he'll basically trash Mulder's theories, and then by the time we get to the end of it, he's just as engrossed in the case as Mulder is, if not more so. And Scully's just like, oh.
It's one of those, I've created a monster. Looks, it's just like, oh no. Yeah, God. You were my safety net. And then it cuts to just a scene after that of Mulder looking at photos, which I thought we were going to see something in them. It's just basically random photos of footprints in mud and things like that, and then cut straight to Scully's date.
Yeah, again, it's another transition scene. It's another scene that is thrown in purely so that we can transition between one scene and another. And you don't need it. You could have just gone straight to that other scene.
And on Scully's date, yeah, she looks amazing, and she looks bored as anybody could be with this whole date.
It's kind of understandable. This guy isn't exactly Mr. Charisma, is he?
No, but I think it's supposed to be a counterpoint towards Mulder's exciting lifestyle and how he's always chasing after the answers and the mystery and all that. And this guy's just happy to be a family guy. Yeah. When it suits him, I suppose, because he is divorced. But yeah, he's kind of boring. The stuff he's talking about is boring, and he does make a mention of what case he's working on, which is quite funny when they're eating their steaks.
Yeah.
And Scully's just like, well, we better not talk about that. And then it cuts back to Mulder getting a call from the ranger that he's found a body that could be the Jersey Devil.
Of a wild man. They say they found the body of a wild man that's been out in the forest for quite some time, they say. So it's been out there for a while.
And it goes back to Scully's date again. She gets a call from Mulder, but she looks actually happy to get out of this date.
Yeah, so Mulder interrupts Scully's date to tell her that he thinks their suspect is a woman.
Yes. I couldn't read my scribbles there, Brian. I was trying to figure out where the hell I put. But that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So that gets Scully somewhat intrigued and basically just gives her a good reason to get the hell out of that restaurant and do something a bit more.
Does it give her, does it make her intrigued, or is it the lesser of two evils type of thing? Like, I'd rather chase some wild woman in the woods than spend 2 more minutes with this boring divorcee.
I think it does intrigue her. Well, if not intrigue, it excites her. I think the prospect of going out, investigating these bizarre cases with a bizarre man, I think she's realising actually that this is where her life is and where she wants it to be. It's her jam, so to speak.
And this guy is just looking for a surrogate mother anyway, isn't he? Because he keeps trying to make these dates where they can bring along kids. She doesn't even have a kid. It's a godson.
Yeah, he's like, why? I'll bring my kids. Why don't you bring your godson and we can act like parents together? And it's something a little bit.
Yeah, it's just this is where my mind wanders during these things, and I'm sitting thinking, so he's going to make a second date and introduce his son to his possible new girlfriend. Is that not a bit early? And before I realise I'm watching a fictional TV show.
It's like, slow 90s. Down, bro. Yeah. Slow down.
So then we jump straight from the date with the divorcee guy into the coroner's office to see this body of the man that they found, who's mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, the body's gone. The body's been moved. And for some reason, Mulder once again brings up this whole tourism conspiracy theory. It's like they really want to hammer that home. It's like somewhere along the line, somebody said, you know what? This episode needs to mean something. It needs to be about something. And it's like, all right, well, we need this angle so that we can make some kind of social commentary on the evils of capitalism and how it's encroaching on even the way police do their work. And it's just so fast, so fast.
And my note here is just, I've got the coroner's office, the body has vanished, and now the professor has joined the Scooby Gang. Who's literally just he's just there now. He's part of it.
So bootleg Jeff Goldblum reels off some beliefs about primates, saying they would naturally be afraid of heights. Yet Mulder says otherwise, and
Yes.
because he's seen the evidence to the contrary. And it makes me wonder, is this Chris Carter's way of saying these people, i.e. the scientists, don't always know what they're talking about? Because I know...
That's a fair point, yeah. I didn't really pick up on that.
It just seemed very, because this guy's, he's an expert. He's probably someone who knows all about evolution and that kind of thing. He talks about primates. Seems to say what he thinks they would or would not do with a fair amount of confidence, and then instantly Mulder's like, actually, you're wrong. And yeah, so it just, I don't know. It felt to me that maybe that was a dig at some of the people in the scientific community who take things as a given, even though a lot of it is just theoretical.
Yeah. And I seem to miss something here between this scene and the next scene. Because they seem to go from there straight to the alleyway to where the Jersey Devil is going to be.
Yeah, I think the expert says something about territory. Like if Mulder saw the Jersey Devil there, which is around the same place where the guy was attacked, then maybe this woman or this man, as they believe it to be at the time, is territorial. So therefore, the best thing to do would be to go back to that place again.
Right. So if I've got this right, Mulder's just proved him wrong about the height thing.
Yep.
But then assumes he's right about the next thing.
Yep.
Bingo, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But in all fairness, he only proves him wrong about the height thing once they've got to the location. Maybe at that point Mulder is thinking, "Oh crap, we're here on this guy's whim, so maybe we shouldn't be here." But in fairness to Mulder, there's some nice lighting in this scene. I've got to say, there's some nice kind of Ridley Scott style lighting with the shaft of light coming through the fan.
Definitely.
Looks visually interesting.
This is where they go into the sort of abandoned factory. It's an abandoned warehouse.
Yes, but an abandoned warehouse. It's just your kind of communal garden variety of abandoned warehouse you see in multiple films.
And they're not long into the building when all of a sudden a SWAT team arrives.
Yeah.
Where one of the guys has just got one of the best fake moustaches I've ever seen. He turns to the camera just to give you a full look at it.
I was gonna point it out. It's like a really low down shot in it, looking up at him, and he kind of turns, looks at the camera, kind of goes off. It's like, yes, I am SWAT, but. Yeah, what the hell are they doing there? They literally, we see two coppers before they show up. Two coppers see the sheriff guy's car outside the warehouse, so they call in the SWAT team. What?
Well, he's park services, and that's not a park, so there's obviously a problem there. It just doesn't make sense.
Oh man, it's just stupid. When that SWAT team shows up, I'm literally kind of, what is going on right now? Seriously.
So they're in the building, and Mulder sees something and instantly just doesn't even alert Scully, just runs away from her and chases after this Jersey Devil.
Like, I understand if the SWAT team was sent there to get the Jersey Devil, but they had no information at all that would lead them to believe that that's what they were going in for.
Not at all. And just before Mulder chases after the Jersey Devil, that cop appears again and tells the people that they are looking for specifically Mulder. And starts asking the professor where Mulder is. Which it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, so it's like, did they send the SWAT team there for Mulder?
Yeah.
It's like, you're telling me the douchebag cop can't go there himself with just a couple of other guys? What are they expecting Mulder to do? It's just
tourism.
Yeah, he's there to assassinate tourism.
So, like I said, Mulder chases somebody and Scully follows after, but Scully's a little bit more graceful in the way that she's moving. After it, she leaps from a building, rolls, is back up, got her gun drawn, follows after it. It shows you how her physicality is a lot more than Mulder's.
Yeah, she's definitely the one who's going to win in a fight between the two.
Yeah, she's controlled while chasing after this thing, while Mulder's just haphazardly running after it like a headless chicken.
Yeah. So
I've got this. It's straight into a scene from A Nightmare on Elm Street when they end up in the boiler room, like where that lighting, like you said, was coming through.
Really nice lighting.
Yeah, really, it's spectacular. It is really like a horror movie at that point. It's really well lit. It's really well shot, and there's something in the shadows.
Yeah, it's a naked woman. Hey up, Chuck. You want to put some clothes on?
And then it's you can see Mulder having flashbacks to his moment earlier on in the episode where he had the pornographic magazine.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked. He gets assaulted by this woman. And
she basically just pins him to the ground. She doesn't do a right lot, to be honest.
I thought she kind of gave him a push to start off with.
Yeah, she does. She pushes him to the floor, and then he moves slightly, and she kind of pushes him back, pins him to the ground. They sit there, kind of looking at each other for a while, and that's it. She's gone. She does a runner, and he goes after her, and then Scully follows.
I mean, I'd like to see a recut of that scene, but with kind of like saxophone pornography music over the top of it, because I think that would completely just change context 100% of that scene. As he leans closer to her, she leans closer to him, the shadows are there. It's just
absolutely no, it's funny how music can completely change the tone of a scene like that, and it would definitely work on that scene. But yeah, they chase her into the forest. The SWAT team follows. That SWAT team that's got no business being there. The nice cop guy, well, like you say, park ranger, the nice park ranger guy, shoots her with a dart, which is probably the reason that the SWAT team is able to catch her.
But this is the thing, like,
he's inadvertently killed her.
You see in this scene when they're chasing after the Jersey Devil, they're all on one side of a riverbank, and you see our heroes chasing after them across a bridge.
Yeah.
But somehow the cop guys swam across the river, climbed up through the bank, and got to the body of the woman before these guys have. Logistically speaking, it just doesn't make quite sense, you know?
Like I say, she's been shot with that dart, so she's probably ended up doubling back on herself because she doesn't quite know where she is. But yeah, it's just the science, the maths of it doesn't really work out. But douchebag cop shoots her anyway. Case solved. Boom.
And then Mulder asks the cop, "Why did you kill her?" And the cop just comes back with the same reason you kill a rabid animal.
It's all in the delivery, though, isn't it? It's all in the delivery. It's like the driest, driest.
It's as if somebody's standing offside
delivery.
with a cue card with just written on it.
He's literally looking over it, going, "The same reason you kill any wild animal."
Yeah.
That do you? Yeah. Good. Thanks. Cut. Mulder refuses to get a life, as Scully suggests.
Yeah.
And decides instead that he wants to go to the Smithsonian. And it ends on a really nice quote when Scully kind of grabs the door for Mulder, and Mulder says, 8 million years out of Africa, Scully, and she says, "And look who's holding the door."
So, nice, and then we finished the episode with a little stinger of the Jersey Devil Jr.
A stinger or stinker?
Yeah, a bit of both, to be fair.
You watch it and you kind of think, please don't ever do a sequel to this episode. Please don't ever do a sequel.
Overall, this was a kind of Monster of the Week episode. It didn't really go anywhere. It didn't introduce any new information into the sort of lexicon of the X-Files, in my opinion. It had some really shoddy production design, I would say, especially with the skid row is fantastic. and it just doesn't look real at all. But I had a little bit of fun with this episode, probably because we've been talking about it and having a laugh as well.
And your fond memories of it, you mean?
And my fond memories of it, but even taking all that into account, I've got to say that this is it's definitely one that if you were rewatching the series, you'd watched it often, you would skip by because there's nothing in it that's necessary to the entire plot. And the forced stuff about Scully and her life outside the X-Files is not that important. As a love interest to Mulder, I don't want that. I'm not really interested in that. I don't want it to go that romantic route because I don't think it's going to work. And I don't want this to be tailored down by a will they won't they carry on that's going to possibly come. And I think overall I'd give Jersey Devil probably 2.5 out of 5. It's okay for a one watch. I won't go back to it. I don't know why this stuck in my head. I really don't. Ryan, what about you?
I think it stuck in your head because you were a 14-year-old boy and you saw a naked woman straddling Mulder and you heard that porno music in your head.
Very probably.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not a good episode. Here's the thing: I gave it a 2.5 as well.
Right.
That was the score I gave it when I watched it the other day. But having talked about it now, I have to ask myself: is this better than Conduit as an episode? Because Conduit we gave 2. After discussing it, we gave it a 2. And I, in good conscience, besides the entertainment value we've had talking about it, in good conscience, I can't honestly say that this is a better episode than Conduit, despite all the problems Conduit had. I'd say it's about even. It's funnier. It's certainly a funnier episode, just because it's so stupid. Yeah. But yeah, it's badly written. I give it a 2. I'll take that half point away. I'll give it a 2. I say it's on a par with Conduit.
It's a filler episode.
It really is.
And I think one thing we didn't talk about, and I want to double check this with you. Does Mulder take that picture that he got from the tramp and draw breasts on it? Does he? When he thinks it's a woman?
No, I don't think so. I think it was already there, wasn't it? Or did he? Did it? Oh man!
It didn't have breasts to start off with.
You're making me doubt.
Yeah, the initial picture did not have breasts on it, and then later on when he's in the office and he realises it's a woman, suddenly there's a picture of something with breasts. And I'm like, so he's got the porno mag at the start, and then he's drawn breasts on this thing, and then he meets his naked Neanderthal woman later on. You know, it's kind of like it's almost like a fantasy episode. Like he's been reading the porno mag, he's fell asleep, he said a wet dream about meeting some Neanderthal naked woman in a boiler room.
There's a possible a possible theory there. I think a fan theory that you could have that everything after Mulder reading that porno magazine was just fantasy. It was all a dream. It was all in Mulder's head. That's why stupid stuff it makes the episode make a heck of a lot more sense.
Yeah, now I think about it. Yeah. And then you've got the thing where he's having this sort of fantasy about Scully being unattainable and going away, but saying he's cute at the same time as well. And maybe
there you go. It's fan theory 101. It was just
5 stars.
5 out of 5. No, yeah, definitely a 2-star episode. It's filler, which is a bit of a shame because we've had 2 episodes now, one after the other, that have been filler. Although I don't think Conduit was intended as filler. I think they really were trying to go for something there and they just didn't pull it off. It just didn't work. Jersey Devil, it just really doesn't feel like they're trying. Yeah.
So our next episode is going to be called Shadows. Mm-hmm. Do you know much about this one? Does this one stick in your head?
It's one that kind of sticks in my head. Like there's a couple of scenes in it that stick in my head. The episode overall, not so much. I seem to recall the episode being half bland, half intriguing, like half exciting because of some of the action that happens in it. Like you see some poltergeist stuff in there, and when that stuff is happening, you kind of like, this is quite entertaining. This is, some special effects use going on here. So yeah, I look forward to that one.